Never trust a government that doesn't trust its own citizens with guns. The late great founding father Benjamin Franklin, rest his soul, said that in reference to our Second Amendment. And I couldn't agree more. So just so y'all know where I stand before JP satirizes our souls.
So what do you think about what's going on? Well, in response to the mass shooting, just as the media is directing me to, I'd like to jump to the conclusion that we should ban all guns before I have a chance to think about how that only affects law-abiding citizens while doing nothing to address the underlying cause of mental illness and evil behind mass shootings. Yeah, I think we should ban guns too. Yes, it would make a lot of sense to have people with guns take our guns. But sometimes I think, whoa, wait a minute there, extremists, just hear me out. Sometimes I think if they want to outlaw guns in order to prevent murder, why don't they just outlaw murder? They already have. And the criminals still break the law?
What do you know?
Then are we sure the criminals that break the law would be willing to just obey a new law about guns? I think we're supposed to just think so. I mean, I can only assume that someone who's willing to murder another person would probably have a moral compass that says, hey, killing a person is great and all, but possessing an object I'm not supposed to, that's just crossing a line. Not gonna do it. Makes sense when we look at it through the lens of that very limited, unlikely perspective. Sure does. Instead of waiting for the leftists who politicize the tragic loss of life to convince the media, to convince the masses, to convince the government to confiscate our guns, maybe we should just voluntarily turn in our guns.
Yeah, yes. Right.
And maybe we should turn in all our food and private property rights too, just to be safe. I'm pretty sure that's already in process. You know, one alternative theory to what the media is telling us. Whoa, hold it right there, extremist. Good point. But just stay with me for a second on this one. One theory is that power-hungry authoritarians use PSYOP programs like MKUltra to program mentally unstable people to do mass shootings so the authoritarians can then politicize them and justify to the public why guns are being taken. And then they have total tyrannical control over citizens who cannot defend themselves.
They'll use anything to promote that propaganda, to promote that false narrative. Use the Uvalde shooting. They'll use all these shootings quick to try to take your guns, to try to take our guns and rights away, because then they have complete power and control. That's all they're after. If any of y'all have been out of the house in the past 2 to 3 years, or even before that, you can see all the chaos that's going around. We're not seeing reasons for gun control. If anything, we're seeing extraordinary reasons to carry at all times.
Then they have total tyrannical control over citizens who cannot defend themselves against them. Okay, Mr. Tinfoil Hat. Now, PSYOPs and MKUltra might be proven programs that the government has used, but they're just conspiracy theories. You think so? Yeah, I think calling those realities conspiracy theories, as they're subjects that I do not understand, is a viable way of engaging in intellectual discourse about them so that I don't have to do any research beyond the current level of knowledge that I already have.
Just all surface headlines. That's all people pay attention.
As conspiracy theories, because it's just easier than starting the journey of learning about what I don't currently know about. And by being unwilling to learn about anything new, that's how we grow more certain of ourselves. Hey, what's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Baby. You're never gonna get anywhere.
I don't know anything about it, and I feel completely unwilling to learn. What about you? The clitoris is my favorite conspiracy theory. I've never found one, and I have no ambition to learn where they actually exist at. Well, in addition to claiming they don't exist, I speculate that one day they'll find them on pregnant men somewhere. But do you know what doesn't sit well with me?
That's disgusting. Never will happen.
Like the stone cold hard reality of XY chromosomes and XX chromosomes. Also a conspiracy theory, so no. But it's just that if authoritarians with guns keep telling us that guns are so bad, why do they need guns? I mean, probably just so they can use them. True. But have you ever heard of history?
The
I don't read books. I just burn them. Thank you for your censorship. But I accidentally learned about history.
Man, I about lost it when he said, I don't read books, I just burn them. And he also said, thank you for your censorship, in the most sarcastic way possible. I almost lost my marbles. Are we really going to let people who surround themselves with barbed wire and armed soldiers at all times tell us we can't own a firearm for protection? What sense does that make? What logic is at the forefront when you think of that sentiment? If anything, it's very hypocritical. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to patent it right now. The hypocrisy is real.
I don't read books. I just burn them. Thank you for your censorship. But I accidentally learned about history once, and when I did, I learned that only tyrannical regimes disarm their populations. And when they do, those governments inflict terrible control, violence, and killing onto their now disarmed populations. For example, in 1911, Turkey established gun control. And then from 1915 to 1917, 1.5 million Armenians, now unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and exterminated. And in 1929, the Soviet Union established gun control. Then from 1929 to 1953, 20 million people, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and exterminated. What do you mean, exterminated? Murdered. Oh, well, those are just two examples.
That ain't even
And
funny.
China
Not at all.
established gun control in 1935. Then from 1948 to 1952, 20 million political dissidents, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and killed. Oh, and the people in China still exist under a brutal regime today. Oh, wait a minute. Germany also established gun control in 1938. And then from 1939 to 1945, 13 million Jews and others who were unable
Hitler.
to defend themselves were
Holocaust.
rounded up and exterminated. Huh. I wonder if Hitler purposely disarmed the population so he could tyrannically take over and kill all people opposed to him. It's probably just a coincidence. But also Cambodia established gun control in 1956.
If they can do it, they're going to do it. Don't think because we're here in the United States that it can't turn into something else. If we give those power-hungry people what they want, I'm telling you, I'm not saying they're going to go around exterminating people, but they have the ability to when they have your guns, when they have all your mechanisms of defense, then what you going to do?
Then from 1975 to 1977, 1 million educated people were rounded up and killed because they were unable to defend themselves. Is my shirt on straight? Yep, good. And Guatemala established gun control in 1964. Then from 1964 to 1981, 100,000 Mayan Indians unable to defend themselves were rounded up and exterminated. Oh, and it's probably not significant, but Uganda established gun control in 1970. Then from 1971 to 1979, 300,000 Christians unable to defend themselves were rounded up and exterminated. 56 million people rounded up and exterminated in the 20th century because of gun control? Yeah, apparently. But that could never happen here. Yeah,
No, never.
That's what all those people throughout history said.
Watch.
But it couldn't ever really happen here. They said that too. But seriously, I mean, that couldn't ever really happen here. Oh, well, when you put it like that, I'm convinced. Yeah, and besides, the
Now
authoritarians
you
that want to
keep
ban
voting
guns in
those
our
leftist
country
policies.
are saying it's for our protection. I can only assume that in all those authoritarian regimes that you mentioned that did all the killing, that they had a different, honest message for their populations about why they were being disarmed. You think? Yeah, it was probably something like, hey, we're gonna take all your guns so that we can control every aspect of your life and easily kill those of you who don't comply. No, it says here all those regimes also had a we're banning guns for your protection type of messaging too. Don't be a conspirament theorist.
Don't buy the smoke and
Another
mirrors.
good
Look
point.
through it.
Then that means this history book must be inaccurate, because it reveals a pattern that's currently unfolding in this country that's uncomfortable to think about. Exactly. That's totally false. We should 100% turn in all our guns. Like,
Yep.
ban them all. Yeah, I feel the coercion to agree with you. But do you think an even better idea could be that if the authoritarians with guns turn in their guns first, and then we, the people, turn in our guns? No, it just feels easier to trust the people that we know lie to us on a consistent basis. Just imagine
Yeah, we
how
gonna
much
put our
better
trust
off
in
we'll
them.
be without the only constitutional right that allows us to protect ourselves. Yeah, and if history has taught us anything, which it hasn't, it's that banning guns will work out much differently this time.
Yep.
Can't wait. Hey, if you're not a beta male and you love freedom, including the Second Amendment, check out my freedom line of merch to help you spread the freedom vibes, only at awakenwithjp.com.
JP's ability to blend serious issues that are going on in the real world all over the place, and especially here in America, to blend that with comedy is unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it. The dude is brilliant at what he does. I believe there's an old saying that goes something like, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Meaning, if a criminal wants to get a gun, they can and will, by any means necessary, go out and get that gun. That's what you see happening all around. Do you think it's the law-abiding citizens that are shooting up schools? 99.999% of the time, and I know that's not an accurate statistical fact, You're not seeing the people that go through the necessary precautions, background checks, and things that are already in place go shoot up schools and go kill innocent people and go in the neighborhoods and kill people that look just like them. You're not seeing that. It's people that fall off the rocker. And even after you get a background check, whatever laws you want to put in place, criminals are still going to go out of their way to do evil, to do harm to other people if they want to. And it's messed up. We got a heart problem in America. We got an evil problem in America. We don't have a gun problem. Guns don't get up out of your holster, in your pants, in your glove compartment, and just go pop people by themselves. The gun can't pull the trigger on its own. But we got Brandon sitting pretty in the White House talking about we need gun control in America. And then also Brandon at the same time, Sleepy Joe, leaves 300,000 guns in Afghanistan for the Taliban. What kind of sense does that make? Isn't it ironic that while we're talking about all this gun control here in America and guns are bad and we should take them, specifically Grandpa Joe, at the same time, we're sending weapons to Ukraine with the intent to kill. Now, I'm not saying we should or shouldn't, but nobody's really stated the obvious yet. We're shipping weapons to kill people in Ukraine, but we don't want weapons circulating here to defend ourselves. Now, y'all know me. It wouldn't be a video of mine if I didn't take it to scripture. This is law. This is truth in the way that I live my life. You may disagree, and that's perfectly okay, but I'm going to take it even back to the KJV version, which I don't read on a daily basis. But for those of y'all that are Bible scholars and you say that's the only valid version that you can understand, whatever it may be, it says in Luke 11, verse 21 through 22, when a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace. But when a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor wherein he trusted and divideth his spoils. Basically, you can summarize that up as saying, when you're armed, when you're protected, your house, your loved ones, your things that you work hard for, everything is good and peaceful. But when somebody tries to overthrow that, when somebody tries to intrude on that and take that from you, if you're not armed, it's going to take what you got and it's going to send it all around. It's going to send it wherever it is. It's going to soil on it. It's going to kill it. It's going to treat it bad. Jesus goes on to tell us straight up in Luke 22, verse 36, and let the one who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. So 2,000 years later, guns are our swords. Jesus said it himself. If you don't got one, you better go get one. You better go get you a sword. You got to stay protected because he knows the evil is on the horizon. No matter how righteous you live, and I know God has the ultimate plan, no matter how righteous you live though, evil will come knocking. People that don't know the Lord, that don't know the truth, will come knocking and try to do harm your way. And if you're not prepared, you and your loved ones may be no longer existent. So stay ready. It's much better to be caught with than without. As for me and my house, I know how to load more than a washer and dryer. Please believe that. If anybody harbored enough evil intent to come out here where we're at in the sticks, you'd be met with a BLDG sign. That means barking dog, loaded gun. No games played. Don't come here if you're not welcome. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below. I want to hear your opinion on this. Let's keep this conversation rolling. And remember, we can have a differing opinion and still respect each other's views. That's the beautiful thing about America, freedom of speech, and just being here on YouTube. We can have dialogue without it getting bashing and belittling and keyboard thugging and people lashing out at one another. You get nowhere with that, but try to use some common sense and logic before you finish out and submit that comment. And if you got any laughs or insight from this video or JP, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all future videos that I do. Sometimes it's a biblical rant, sometimes it's a real life social issue sort of rant, sometimes it's tied together like this right here. So if you like that sort of thing, you can also hit the thanks button. Supports the channel, helps Mrs. Gibson and I a whole lot. By no means do you have to. Everything else is down in my description section as far as Patreon if you want to join that family. Products I use to make these videos, everything that I stand behind and use on a daily basis is linked in the description. But if nothing else, thanks for the viewership, for joining in, watching my videos, and getting whatever you get out of these. Either way, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. If you need to get a hold of me, Devin at dgibson.com for questions or anything business related. Until next time, Godspeed. I'm gone.